Hi there everyone, welcome to this Yin Yoga practice. Yin Yoga is a type of yoga practice that moves very slowly. Pretty much everything we do is on the mat, i.e. sitting or lying. But it's not as soft and gentle as restorative yoga. It's still relatively gentle, but we are still trying to coax the body open. So we hold the stretches for minutes rather than seconds in a way that we're just lightly releasing and squeezing tension out of not only the muscles, but the connective tissue, which you might have heard of as fascia tissue. So Yin Yoga is a really wonderful practice for those of you that experience, chronic tension or tightness in specific areas of the body. It's also a really wonderful way to boost our general sense of well-being and vitality. It's based on a Chinese medicine system as opposed to the Ayurvedic Indian medicine system. Both systems are based on the concept of interconnectivity, that the whole body is connected, and the idea of energy that flows through the body. But in the Yin Yoga, we work more with meridian lines, which if you've had acupuncture or reflexology, then you might have heard a little bit about meridian lines. Again, they're just channels of energy that connect different parts of the body, specifically the organ body. And this is what we're exploring in today's class. We're looking at exploring the heart, lung, and intestine meridians. So these meridians can be associated with physical imbalances such as any issues in regulating the body temperature, any abdominal pain, and just generally any kind of low immunity problems. And emotionally, these are the meridians associated with things like grief and sadness, but also joy and vitality, particularly when we're working into this space. So we'll be working with these meridian lines today. You don't really need a huge amount of equipment, although a blanket and a bolster will be helpful. If you don't have a bolster, use pillows. If you've got other yoga equipment like bricks and blocks, you're very welcome to have it nearby in case you need it for support. If there's anything you like to have for Shavasana, have that nearby as well, such as a blanket or an eye pillow, and then we'll begin. So we're going to start in the posture butterfly pose, sometimes known as Baddha Konasana. And for this, you come to seated. Now, you may like to sit up on a blanket, just for that little bit of extra support for the hips. And then the soles of the feet are coming together with the knees wide. Now, just a reminder that I am pregnant at the time of recording this, and holding stretches for a long time is not advised in pregnancy. So I'm not going to be going particularly deep in anything. You might also see me come out of postures. So just listen to me rather than copy what I'm doing. And that's generally good advice anyway, because of course, even if I wasn't pregnant, my body would still be different to yours. So this is an opportunity. Yoga is that opportunity to come inward to yourself. So just finding a comfortable distance between your feet and your groin. Don't feel that the closer the feet, the better. It's not necessarily the case. And then your hands can just rest wherever's comfortable. And we'll start with just bringing a little bit of length to the spine. And you might like to close your eyes. And just take a few moments sitting here in this meditative posture. Just beginning to connect with your body and your breath. Perhaps you're doing this at the end of the day and you've had a busy day, or it's towards the end of the week. You might be feeling a bit tired or frazzled or wired. Just acknowledge how you are feeling. And then perhaps just have that intention of being really present for the practice, so that this is your time and space. You can keep your eyes closed or you can let them reopen. And you might just enjoy staying upright like this. So this is keeping the spine tall is a really great way to have the emphasis of the opening on your hips. So you're very welcome to stay in this upright position. Or you can also begin to explore slowly coming forward. And sometimes I suggest you just put your hands on your pelvis. Imagine your pelvis is a bowl of water and you're just trying to pour the water out of that bowl. So there's that sense of tipping the pelvis forwards, bringing the hands down. Maybe the hands stay on the legs, maybe to the floor. And then as you start to come forward in this way, you probably start to notice, as well as this stretch for the hips and the thighs, you're also stretching down to the back of the pelvis and the lower back. Now you can stay upright with your spine, keeping your back straight, or at any point, if you feel like going a little bit deeper, you can let your head drop so that you round your spine. And this will deepen the stretch in your spine as well as your hips. So I'm going to leave this up to you to choose how you'd like to do this posture today. Now, I personally, that's enough for me. So I'm going to just come to a regular seated position now. But for you, I invite you just to continue to explore softening and opening into this posture. In yin, we're not in a hurry. We're not trying to be pushy or aggressive. Rather, we're just coaxing the body open. So working to about 60 to 70% of your effort. Exploring that edge just between comfort and discomfort. So in yin, we do sometimes feel a bit uncomfortable. It might be physically, but it could also be mentally. The mind often gets bored much quicker than the body does. And this is why we look at the energy that we're working with in yoga, not just the physicality of the body. How does our mind respond when we're being asked to just slow down, to maybe hold a posture that's a bit uncomfortable? Of course, I hope it's obvious that you should not be in any pain. If you find you're really gritting your teeth or frowning or cursing me, which I hope you're not, then you might need to back off a little bit. But just try and stay present to your emotional state, your mental state. And remember to stay connected with your body and your breath, because this is what's keeping you in the present. Even if the present is a little bit uncomfortable, can you just stay here anyway? I think this can be a good mantra for life, really. Sometimes life is a bit uncomfortable or challenging. How do we keep our state of presence and balance? Can yoga help us with that? I think so. And so when you're ready to come out of the posture, you're going to lift yourself up nice and tall. If your head's been particularly low, just come up slowly and gently so that you come all the way up to sitting. And let's take a moment just to lift the legs up, step the feet, that hip width a bit wider, lean back onto the hands and take a gentle rocking action with your legs. This should be very soft and fluid. You don't need to control it. We're just easing out the hip joints after they've been open for that 5 minutes in that last posture. And then once you've had a little wiggle of your legs, we're going to make our way lying onto our back. So I will demonstrate this posture on one side, but again, I'm not going to stay in it because it's not suitable for pregnant women at this stage of pregnancy to be lying flat on their back. But it's fine for me just to show you for 30 seconds or so. So this is the banana posture, and you'll understand why it's called that, banana asana, when you do it yourself. If you know you're quite tight in your shoulders, you can put a blanket behind your head. The arms are ultimately going to be coming behind the head. In fact, I can show you from seated. Your arms are going to come up over your head, and you're going to be taking this position with your upper body. So if you feel that your arms are not going to touch the floor, put a blanket or a pillow or even a bolster, however much support you need, just behind the head. The legs are going to be straight. So we bring the arms up overhead, and then we're going to reach the head and the arms over to the right. So you come into that curved shape. Now you can have your hands wide apart, or you can hold on to one wrist with the other hand, doesn't matter which way round. And then once you've got your arms into position, take that right foot to the right, and then bring the left foot over. And again, you can have your feet apart, or you can cross one ankle over the other. And again, it doesn't matter which ankle is on top. So you can probably see now why it's called banana pose. Now, ideally, you're staying fairly flat on the back of your pelvis. So try not to roll too much to the right. Again, you don't have to be super controlled with it, but if you're kind of really rolling to the side, then you might just need to back off a little bit. And then this is where we stay. Or I should say where you are going to stay. So this is a wonderful posture. I look forward to quite a few yoga postures that I'm missing out on at the moment. There's a lot that I can do, but banana pose is not one of them. And I do look forward to reconnecting with that posture again, because it's just such a wonderful stretch for the side body. It connects also with your IT band. So if there's any runners or cyclists or swimmers or walkers taking this practice, this is a good stretch for you to know about. And it's very yin-like. And what I mean by that is that there's no muscular effort. You're lying down, so you're supported by the floor. Yin is considered a passive practice. And I think we don't have very good connotations with the word passive in our culture. But really, maybe you could use the word patient, a patient practice. You can't force or hurry this. You literally just have to wait. And the reason for that is because it takes at least 2 minutes for your fascia tissue, your connective tissue, to start to open. So you can't go any faster. You can't push yourself to go any deeper. So there is that sense of being passive, as in just stepping back and just surrendering your need to control and just allowing the body to unfold in its own time. Now, I mentioned a little earlier that we're looking at that edge of discomfort, but not pain. And included in that, what we want to avoid is any numbness, any tingling, or any kind of electric type of feeling, because it could be, not saying for sure, but it could be that you're aggravating a nerve. And of course, we don't want to do that. So it's always better to be safe than sorry, particularly practicing in this way. I'm not there in the room with you. So avoid any numbness, any tingling, any electric type feeling. If you do experience those feelings, you can back off the posture a little bit. Or of course, you can come out and just rest flat on your back. A successful yoga practice is one where you listen and connect to yourself. Connect with your body. Learn to recognize when your mind is in control. The mind often just wants us to push through, maybe be aggressive or forceful. And in the yin yoga, we're trying to just find another way of being, another way of practicing. Sometimes in life, we might feel that we have to be a bit aggressive or forceful, but not in a yin yoga practice. And so we're going to stay here for about another minute or so. And there's no need to really be doing anything with your breath in this type of class. But it can be beneficial just to observe your breath. By observing the breath, We increase our awareness of the breath. So we become more familiar with how our breath changes according to our environment or the situation that we might be in or how we're feeling. The breath also allows us to become more present, which can allow us to become more responsive. So there's a lot of benefits just to noticing and observing your breath without having to control it in any way. And now we're going to prepare to come out of this posture. So always come out in the easiest way. So it's up to you if you move your arms or your legs first. But come back so that you're just lying flat on your back in a straight line. So you're no longer in that banana shape, but just lying flat on the back in a straight line. Arms down by the side. Take a few moments here. Hopefully you're feeling a bit more spacious around your ribs and your side body, particularly on that left-hand side. And then we'll take it the other way. So again, the arms are coming up overhead. This time you're shifting your arms, your head and your shoulders over to that left side, keeping the arms apart or holding one arm with the other, whatever you prefer. And then taking the legs also over to the left. And again, feet can be hip width apart or crossing one ankle over the other. So the banana posture now on the other side. Remember, it can take a few moments for your body to settle and land, to adapt to the stretch that you are now in. So give yourself that time. And then just begin to invite the body to release. You might softly release your out breath. You might close your eyes. And you might just notice the feeling of the floor or the mat, whatever you are lying on. Just allowing your jaw to relax a little, parting the teeth, softening the tongue in your lower palate. And just surrendering to the patience required in the yin yoga practice. So we're about halfway into the posture on this side. And I'd like to just let you spend the remainder of the time here, just under 2 minutes, just in a little bit of silence, perhaps just watching, following your breath. And then when you're ready, prepare to come out in the easiest way. So maybe the arms first, then the legs, or perhaps the other way feels better for you. And just take a few moments resting flat on your back, legs straight if you can, arms down by the side. Perhaps with the eyes closed. And just enjoying any space that you have created around your waist, around your rib cage, more space for your breath. Perhaps the front of the pelvis feels flatter, the shoulders more open. Just be attentive to how your body has responded to that posture. And then bending up the knees, rolling to the side, and slowly come up to sit. For our next posture, you have the option of placing a blanket underneath your knees if you want a bit of extra padding. And you also have the option of using a bolster here. The bolster generally will offer you a bit more support. So if you want a more intense practice, you can do it without the bolster. Depends what feels good for you. If you are using a bolster, ultimately it's going to be for your chest. So you're going to just place that below your chest, more or less as you come into an all-fours position. Keeping the hips above the knees, begin to walk your hands forward. Melting heart posture. So you might find, particularly if you're not using a bolster, that your forehead comes to the floor. There needs to be a little bit of muscular engagement through the arms here. And if this at any point feels too intense for your shoulders, please come out of the posture. It can be quite a deep shoulder and upper back opener. So even just 30, 60 seconds might be enough for you. We're going to aim for 2 minutes if we can. We're almost at that halfway mark. And there's really this sense of, as the name suggests, melting your heart towards the floor. As if you had a really friendly, supportive hand in between your shoulder blades, and that hand was just encouraging that space between your shoulder blades to melt. Hips are staying above the knees, arms lengthening out. You might feel that you need to press a little bit more into the pads of your fingertips for extra stability through the arms and the hands. Just a couple more breaths. And then from here, start to lift away from the floor. Carefully walk your hands in towards you. Come up to your hands and knees. And let's just circle the torso a little bit, drawing circles with your body, just to ease out any tension that creeps in when we're in these stretches for a long time. So again, this should just be quite fluid, should feel pleasant and easy. And then we will come back to a seated position. So again, maybe you've got that folded blanket there for some extra support. And we're going to sit with the legs wide apart. Now you don't have to go your widest, as long as the legs are a bit wider than hip width. So just see what's feeling good for you. And we're going to begin just by sitting up tall. So you might have your hands on the legs or on the floor, whatever gives you greatest stability. Take a few moments just to sit. Now, if you find sitting like this quite uncomfortable, sometimes it's helpful just to practice sitting like this. So sitting with a tall spine with some height underneath you, most definitely. If you feel ready to come into the forward fold, we're going to, as we exhale, just turn a little bit to that right leg. Take another inhale, and then exhale, begin to fold forward. So your hands are either side of that right leg. If you feel that you can reach and take hold of your foot, you're welcome to do so. That's not really our objective. Remember, we're working in that slow, steady way, 60 to 70% of your effort. And again, I'm not going to stay here with you. I do have some practices that are suitable for pregnant women, but this isn't one. So I'm going to just come back up to sit. And of course here we become very aware of tension in the backs of the legs, around the back body, particularly the lower back. And you're very welcome just to explore breathing in to any parts of your body that feel tight or stiff today. So imagine that your breath could go straight to your calf muscle or your hamstring or your glutes or your lower back or whatever it may be. An easy breath. Use your breath to help you regulate your emotional response to the posture, to help you find your presence. And then from this side bend, if you've got a bolster nearby, that can be helpful just to place your hand or even your forearm on. Bring that left hand onto your hip, open up your chest a little bit, and now come into a side stretch here, stretching through this left waist. Now, if you want to go deeper, you can bring that left arm up overhead. You can also go deeper by, if you're reaching towards the foot, reaching that left hand in direction of the foot, or you can stay more in this side position. If you're having your arm up like this, aggravates your shoulder, just bring it back down to your hip. If your neck gets tired from being lifted upright, turn it slightly to look up or slightly to look down. Whatever will suit your body best. You don't have to have a bolster here, you can just have your hand on the floor. But sometimes it's nice to be able to support the whole forearm, and it's just a little bit less pressure for your wrist. We've got about a minute or so here. So whilst yin is very still, we don't have to be statue-like. Of course, the body is stretching and opening. So sometimes we might just change things. You know, we might have our arm extending over and then just feel like we can go a little bit further. Or we might feel the opposite. If the shoulder gets tired, we just need to back off. So keep listening to your body, keep breathing. Notice how sensations change, how thoughts, emotions change. Stay with the rhythm and consistency of your breath. and then we'll come out. So if you've got that left arm extending up and over, bring that arm down first. You might want to drop your gaze, looking towards the right, and then come all the way up to sit. If you are using a bolster of some kind, carefully take that to the left-hand side. Inhale to sit up tall. Exhale, turn a little bit towards that left leg. Take another breath in. And then exhale, folding forwards. Shoulders soft. So if you do reach for your foot, try not to bring the shoulders up to the ears. So if the only way you can hold your foot is by rounding your shoulders, don't hold your foot. Just keep the hand either side of the leg. I actually quite enjoy practicing like this. I find it very grounding, stabilizing. Remember, we're not here to go to our utmost flexibility, more of a gradual building up to that flexibility. And we're going to be here for 2 minutes in total. We're almost halfway there. And so just explore, how is this just to slow down, to move at this slow, slow pace. How is it to have no distractions? Hopefully you're not looking at your phone. Just staying present with the practice. From this slightly twisted forward fold, we're going to take now the left hand either to the floor or onto a cushion of some point, that right hand onto the hip, turning the chest forward a little and then just leaning more to the left, so stretching more into this right waist, keeping the right hand where it is or bringing it up and over. Gazing ahead, slightly up, slightly down, that's your choice. Keeping both shoulders away from the ears. Remember, you can also explore taking that forward a little bit if you wanted to reach in direction of your foot. Whatever's going to work best for you. Two minutes in this posture, we're already almost halfway there. We generally have quite a lot of freedom in yin when it comes to things like the head, the hands and the feet. So this is why, however wide apart your legs are is up to you. The exact way that you position your hands is up to you. And also the exact way you position your head is up to you. Certainly we want to try and avoid bringing tension into the neck by holding the neck in any strenuous position. And then when you're ready, if you've still got this right arm up and over, gradually bring that right hand back to the hip. Drop the gaze down towards that left hand side. Slowly push yourself up. Lean back onto your hands, bring your feet up. Come to a little windshield wiper. Just ease out your hips. Well done. relaxing your jaw, your eyes, your forehead. And then we're going to come into our next posture, which is a version of child's pose. It's a twisted child's pose. So again, you can do this with or without the bolster. And we are going to take the kind of traditional child's pose. We're going to have the legs a bit wider apart. Rather than have both arms forward, you can thread that right arm under the left arm, or in the direction of the left arm, so that you're resting your forehead onto that left forearm. So that right arm is extended out and you're resting that left arm down. You can go further, so it's more of a twist. So you just keep taking that arm across, and then you would rest your left cheek onto your arm. Sorry, your right cheek. Or you can just stay in this modification. If you want to try that with a bolster, you just have the bolster in front of you, and then you can continue to thread that right arm under and rest your cheek onto the bolster, which for some people can feel a little easier. The right arm then is just resting on top of the bolster. This can be an easier way to access the twist. So, up to you how you do it, with or without the bolster. But we're starting by taking the right arm under, left arm out in front. Finding that comfortable place for the head to rest. Here, beginning to feel that gentle stretch in the back body. So we've done quite a lot of work with the back body, rounding the back body forwards, connecting with the meridians that I mentioned at the start, the heart, the lung, the intestines. And perhaps you can also have some sense of your breath just moving into your back body. Of your tailbone weighted towards your heels. Coming back to that idea of softening and surrendering. Allowing your body time to peel away the layers of tension. Allowing any tension that resides in the mind to emerge through thoughts and feelings, whilst just maintaining that relationship with your body and your breath. We'll stay here for approximately 1 more minute if you can. If it gets a bit much in the twisted version, just come to regular child's pose. Or you can always come and just sit. And then preparing to come out of the posture. So you might bring that left hand closer towards you as you push yourself up. And then preparing on the other side, so threading that left arm under. Remember, the softer option, which has less of a twist, is just to have the arm parallel in front of you, resting your forehead down, or deepening it into that twist and turning to rest onto your right cheek. This can often feel much more comfortable, particularly for your head and your neck if you have a bolster of some sort. So that you can rest your cheek onto the bolster. So as you come into the variation, it's going to work for you using whatever equipment you have available and that you would like to use. Allowing some time for that initial landing and settling. Softening. And we especially feel that softening in that shoulder region so that the shoulders are just pouring down the back. Got about 1 more minute. A soft, easy breath. Sinking into your body. Just a few more breaths. And then to come out using that right arm for support, so that right hand can come closer towards you, turning to face down as you push yourself up to sit. And then come back to sitting, perhaps on some height. A bolster is helpful here. A pillow won't really work, but if you have a bolster, you have the option to use it. So we'll just come to a comfortable seated position, legs out in front. You can have your legs straight or a little bit bent, and you can have the legs together or a bit wider apart, maybe about hip width or towards the edges of the mat, whatever feels most comfortable for you. If you have problems with your lower back, sometimes the bend in the knees is more comfortable. Now we're going to come into caterpillar pose here. So let's start with the inhale to lengthen. And then as you exhale, start to fold forward. And again, just like earlier, you can have your hand on your pelvis. Imagine that you're tipping that bowl of water forward. So the movement is coming from the pelvis. So if the lower back is stiff, you don't feel that you're getting very far. So sometimes the bent knees can help. And you can keep that little lift of your head. You can also round the spine by dropping your head. And if you do have a bolster available, you're very welcome just to rest your forehead onto the edge of that bolster. We've got about 5 minutes here, so plenty of time. And of course, in that 5 minutes, you can explore going a little bit deeper. If you're sitting with a more upright spine, you might want to just explore dropping your head at some point. If you've gone straight into the rounded spine, at some point you might feel like lifting the head. So whilst I'm not encouraging you to fidget, I'm certainly giving you that invitation to be responsive, so that as your body changes in the minutes ticking by, that you can also feel that you can respond to the positioning of your head, particularly positioning of any bolsters that you're using, and how you're holding your spine. Sometimes it can feel that we want to close the eyes to encourage that state of going inward. If you prefer to keep your eyes open, that's also fine. Just ensure that your eyes stay soft, so there's no need to be looking at the screen. Once you've got the idea, once you're in the posture, really you're just in the posture then, allowing the time to pass for gravity to do the work, for time to do the work, and you to be more receptive to the postures. Sometimes when we slow down, we begin to acknowledge really how we're feeling. It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life. So easy to just be forward thinking, or maybe even backward thinking. But there's very few rare moments when we're just here and now. And yoga offers us the chance for those moments. Of course, that doesn't mean that the mind doesn't stay busy, particularly in yin yoga. I think the mind can get bored or uncomfortable, want to mix it up a little bit, give me some distracting thoughts. And that's totally normal. It's what the mind does. But just be aware that that is what's happening. And if you can, come back to feeling your body, being with your breath. So 5 minutes is quite a long time. If you really get to that point where you're finding it unbearable to be here, that it's not feeling good for you to be here, just back off the posture and just sit in a comfortable seated position for a while. You've got about just over 1 minute left. And then when you're ready, nice and carefully lift yourself up. Just carefully put any bolsters to the side that you've been using. Take a moment to be tall through the spine. And then we're going to end in a slightly more restorative posture. Well, you can make it more restorative. It's going to be up to you. You're taking your blanket and you're going to fold it into a long, thin rectangle. So something like this. And this is going to go across your mat. And you're going to lie back onto this blanket so that the blanket is just on the lower part of the shoulder blades. Now, you can do this with or without the bolster under the knees. Generally, it makes it a bit more comfortable, but it's totally your choice. The main thing that we're looking for is having this blanket at the lower part of the shoulder blade. So as you lower down, you're bringing your arms out in this T-shaped position, and your arms will be above the blanket, not on it. Your head drops down to the mat, and then you can lengthen your legs. So either onto a bolster or just flat on the floor. This is a gentle way just to open up the heart space. We've done a lot of folding forward, very calming, soothing, inward practices. And we're just going to close with this more open, re-energizing posture. So do feel free to pop an eye pillow on if you would like. And just feel that you're really opening yourself up now, opening the front of your body just to receive the benefits of all your practice so far. Feeling, again, the effortlessness of the posture of just being here, letting gravity do the work, letting time do the work. And perhaps enjoying this flow of breath as it moves through the front of your body. Maybe the breath feels a little bit easier now. There's more space in your body now that you've opened up your body. You have created the space. So again, without having to force or contrive the breath, you can just enjoy the benefits of the practice. Shoulders sinking to the floor, back of the head is heavy. Tongue releasing in the mouth, arms and legs lengthening. Just resting here. So when you're ready, we're going to transition from here into Shavasana. So you can roll gently to your side. Be gentle with your eyes if you're wearing an eye pillow, because of course it will fall off. So as you come to the side, you can just prop yourself up, move that blanket. You might want to cover yourself with it if you want that extra warmth and weight, and then find your way flat onto your back once again. Simple, easy Shavasana. Time to let go. To truly release now. No holding the body in a particular posture, but time for you to rest and renew. So just feel that your body is surrendering to the floor. Feel that weight of your body sinking down towards whatever you're lying on. As if everything was getting a little heavier. Your eyes, your tongue, your arms, your legs, your buttocks, and the whole back of your body. Allow everything just to surrender into this resting posture. from here, just preparing to move your body once again. You might gently come and lie on your side, resting here for a few moments, letting your eyes return to the light and the space you are in. Before you come up to sit. Sitting however is comfortable for you. And then using your inhale to circle your arms up overhead. Let the palms meet, gaze to thumbs. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Take a breath in here. And as you breathe out by your head to your heart, in a gesture of gratitude towards yourself for making some time and space for yoga. Namaste. Thank you everyone for taking this practice. I really hope that you've enjoyed it. You can come back to it again and again and again as often as you like. If you do practice it again, notice how your body changes, notice how your mind influences the practice. Just build that sense of presence and awareness of yourself. And I look forward to sharing more videos with you at a later date. Thank you.